good to see you again. Hey, I've had some fun getting this lot ready for you today. Take a look at what's coming up. There's a dotty way to give your artwork a real punch. And how to get some painty effects into your felt tip drawings. And here's a big art attack that's big in more ways than one.
Would you dare to step into the House of Horrors? Would you dare to peer into dark, hidden places? Climb the rickety stairs at the midnight hour, not knowing what lurks behind the next door? Would you dare to confront your worst nightmare? Would you dare to make a House of Horrors?
No problem. In 4 parts. A 4-part attack. For the main shape of the house, take a large cardboard box, stand it up on one end and cut away this top part. Save that for later. Then crush its sides to make it look all crooked and spooky. For the roof, take a strip of cardboard that's as deep as your box but a lot wider and fold a triangle shape at one end. Tape it to the top of the box. Now you don't have to be neat about this, the more rickety the better. And when you've done that, fill in the triangle hole with some more scrap card. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit perfectly, it all adds to the effect. So that's the basic shape of your House of Horrors. But now you need to add your floors and some windows and doors. Decide where you want your windows and doors and then draw them like pointy arches, just like that. And again, one there. And when you're happy with their position, cut them out. And when you've cut them out, add some floors with more cardboard. Just draw around the bottom of your house to get the right size, and then tape it into position. Use plenty of tape for this. And I've cut a hole in this piece where a staircase will go, and tape that in as well. And how about adding a dividing wall, again with a hole, this time for a door. In it goes, and on goes more tape. And when everything's securely taped, you'll have something like this. And I've added on a couple of bits of drinking straws to those windows, and taped on some cardboard doors, see that? And you've got a piece of tape as a hinge so it can open and shut. And where that hole in the floor was, I've added a strip of thin card that I've folded like a staircase. And again, I've used straws for the banister. Now, a house wouldn't be haunted without a revolving bookcase hiding a secret dungeon, would it? For the revolving bookcase, cut a rectangular hole from the back of the box and cut some cardboard box card that fits the hole. On one side, draw a bookcase, and on the other side, a secret staircase. Now, this is important. Make sure that the corrugations run from top to bottom, because you take a thin drinking straw and thread it through the middle corrugation. And then you put it back into the hole and hold it in position with tape. And then it should revolve easily. And you can make all sorts of spooky mechanisms. It's great fun to do it. How's about a spooky portrait? Now, I've punched holes through the eyes here, and I've drawn those eyes on a strip of card. See that? And then I've stuck a couple of other strips of card there on the back, so that when you thread the eyes through these strips, they move from side to side. See that? Spooky. Okay, let's give the house some real spooky character. Paste on a layer of kitchen paper all over your house using PVA glue mixed with a little water. But be careful not to glue over the doors. Just tuck the paper around like that. And when you've covered the whole thing and it's dry, it'll be rock hard and you can paint it. Use spooky colours like purple, or how's about some old wood brown? And the texture of the kitchen paper really adds to the old haunted effect. How's about some grey stone? And when you've painted the whole thing and it's dry, you'll have something that looks like this. Now, I've painted all the rooms different colours. I've painted in some smelly old rugs, some creaky floorboards there, and on the top, I've given it a rickety old roof. Then just let your imagination go wild and make lots of horrors for your house. This cupboard was made from a box, and I've painted it and added split pins for handles. I've tied a piece of cotton to the handle and give it a tug, and inside, a skeleton pops out. And what about this grandfather clock? This was made from a toothpaste box. I've added some card detail on the top, and inside there's some bats. And talking of bats, there's some flying in the moonlight. I've just drawn those on a white circle and stuck it to the back there. In fact, the more little bits and pieces you put inside the house, the spookier it looks. Good, isn't it? Try it yourself. A house of horrors. Nice dog. Look at this. Aren't these dogs really well behaved? Mind you, some dogs could be real hard work. Great way of doing a really atmospheric picture using felt tints. No, not felt tips, felt tints. OK, you do need a felt tip marker pen, any colour you like, but I'm going to use black. And for this to work, it must be an ordinary water-based pen, not permanent marker. First, the idea is to draw a picture of anything you like. I'm going to draw a gardener. So, OK, give him his hat, his floppy gardener's hat. And put the band around it. And his head. Put in his face. And put his spade in like that. Now this doesn't need to be a perfect drawing. You'll see why in a minute. Give him a big pair of clumpy boots. Just put in the soil that he's digging up. And I think I'll just give him a wheelbarrow here at the back. And a bit of grass. Now to turn my felt tip picture into a felt tint picture. Just take a paintbrush and dip it into a little bit of water. You don't want too much water on your brush. Then quickly brush the water into the shady areas on your picture and look what happens. The pen ink is dissolved and tints your picture. See that? Just get the brush in there and move that ink. Just brush into the shady areas of your picture down one side. So if the light is coming from the right-hand side, brush your tint down this left-hand side. And don't forget to keep some areas clean to create highlights. And on the spade, down the side of the handle, don't forget all the soil. And the wheelbarrow. Again, just drag the ink for the little bits of detail. There's the wheel. And finally, the grass. And when you finish, you have this really atmospheric tinted picture. And you can use any felt pen or ink pen as long as it's not a permanent marker. Otherwise, you won't be able to create a tint with your water. And I've done these tinted pictures in exactly the same way. Here's a panda done in black felt tip pen. And this windmill is done in ordinary red felt tip pen. And this is a multicoloured tint picture using different coloured pens. Try it yourself. Use an ordinary felt pen, brush on a bit of water and turn your felt tip picture into a felt tint picture. Thanks for sending in all your art attacks. I'm sorry I can't show every single one of them. I'd love to, because they're absolutely brilliant, but I haven't got enough time. Still, they all go in the Art Attack gallery, and they're fab. Here's some of them. Now here's a very delicate still life of some flowers. Amber's used pencil to draw with, then added subtle colours with watercolour paints. Beautiful. And Emily's done her art attack in a very unusual style by painting her ship silhouette on a paper plate. And Gabrielle has done a brilliant landscape here. I really like the wobbly tree in the foreground and the way you've used really bold brush strokes. Yeah, fantastic art attack, Gabrielle. And a great use of colours there. Do you know what? That's reminded me of a little trick I often use when painting. Now, you know how when you're painting sometimes it can be difficult to tell how certain paints will look on paper. And when you do try them, they're not the colour that you thought they were going to be, and you end up spoiling your picture. Well, here's a handy trick for you. Just keep another piece of white scrap paper by the side of your artwork to test the paint on first. So, OK, this looks like a nice dark green there from a picture. Let's try it. Oh, look at that. That is far too light. Good job I tested it. Now, this one here looks a lot better, so let's test it. There it goes. Yeah, look at that. That is much better. Good. Now I need some black paint too, and this one looks like it's black, so on it goes. Give it a test, and it's a nice... Oh, that's green as well. Good job I tested it first. And testing your colours like this is particularly useful when you're mixing colours. Just check what they look like first before using them on your picture. Good one to remember, that. Test your paint first and don't spoil your picture. So where were we? Oh yes, look at this. Here's a great technique to use if you can't decide which way you want to do a drawing. Tom's picture shows the study of a cactus done in 4 different styles. Personally, Tom, I like them all. Hey, take a look at this crazy cat by Katie. There's not one bit of this character that's not bursting with colours and patterns. Look at that fairy coat. And Connor's art attack is really colourful, and I particularly like the way that different layers of tissue paper mix to create really unusual colours. And Daniel's created this sunny art attack using a very unusual art material, lolly sticks. Rather than drawing on the sun rays, he stuck on lolly sticks instead. Hey, great picture using lolly sticks, Daniel. In fact, there's a lot of unusual ways to make a picture using unusual things. Here's a good one, a hole punch. Now, I used to use this for punching holes in my schoolwork so I could put it in files. In fact, I used to love really punching holes just for fun. And then I discovered the real fun is inside the hole punch. Look at this. Dots. Lots of coloured dots. Now, if you take an old scrap piece of green paper and then you punch holes in it, look at this. You get perfect green dots. If you take an old piece of red magazine and punch some holes in it, you get perfect red dots. Look at that. And there are loads of ways to make these dots into a picture. Try this one. Take a picture from a magazine. Now, faces work really well for this, and lay a piece of tracing paper over the top. Then go around all the main shapes of the picture using a soft pencil. So on this you go around the edge of the face and the eyes. Don't put in too much detail though. And then you can look for the shady areas and the highlighted areas like this highlight here. And the nose and the mouth. Then trace your face onto a piece of white paper. The way to use tracing paper if you want an exact copy of your picture is to trace around all the lines using a soft pencil. Then flip the tracing paper over onto some scrap paper and again go over all the lines. Then take your best paper and flip the tracing paper back once more and scribble over the lines, and you have an exact copy of your original picture underneath. Once you've traced your picture, colour in some of the sections with felt tip pens. When you've finished all the sections you want in felt tip, you can then colour in the other sections you want with coloured dots. Just paste some PVA glue onto the section you want dotty, and then sprinkle on some dots in the right colour. So these dots are pink for the lips. And then fill in the eyebrows. And just fill in all the areas like this and sprinkle on your dots. Then go over all of the sections in either felt tip or dots, and you'll end up with this stylised half dotty picture. Good effect, isn't it? And I've gone completely dotty with my hole punch and done some brilliant pictures. Look at this lot. This one is literally half dots and half coloured in. And on this one, I've limited myself to different shades of green. And this dotty technique looks good if you use it on cartoons too. Try it yourself. Colour half a picture in with dots using a hole punch.
TVO Kids crew, we're spinning the brain game wheel. By the way, another cool episode of Art Attack. How does he do that? Those amazing sculpture thingies he does. Very cool. All right, back to this. We've got Cameron on the phone. We're about to spin. Hey, Cameron, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good. Which way do you want to spin the brain game wheel? Counterclockwise like that or clockwise like that?